Hi, this is Teresa from Your Mama's Book Reviews. Anyway, it has been a little while since we recorded because Bella's tablet was broken and the charger was broken, but now she fixed it. So, and my camera takes a crappy video. So I have read a lot of books, and in fact, I read one book on the Kindle, and I can't even find where I read it. So, and I'm not even going to count the Audible books, which have kind of stunk lately. So one book I read on my Kindle was Teacher by Freida McFadden, and I really liked it. And now this lady was selling a bunch of her books on Facebook Marketplace, so I got them. And in Teacher, you have dual storyline of a young girl whose name is Addie, and she is 16 and attends a school where there is a married couple named Nate and Eve, and they are both teachers there. And Nate is kind of like the teacher that everybody loves. Everybody thinks he's awesome. He's really good looking. He's really charismatic. He's really like excited to be a teacher. And his wife Eve is kind of like the really strict math teacher, and she's not great. And this young girl Addie has both of the teachers. And the year before, something happened with an older teacher, and she actually ended up getting, the older teacher ended up getting fired, or he resigned, one or the other, because of something that the girl did, which sounds pretty bad, but she swears nothing happened. So you have these dual storylines of Addie going to the school and having this interesting past, and she has a lot of like issues, and then the two teachers that are married, and their marriage is kind of stagnant, and the Nate, he's gone out all night, not all night, but like he doesn't come home till late, and they don't have much of a relationship. And then it gets kind of dark where I don't want to say too much. You have to be careful what you say, because it's the kind of book where if you say too much, you're going to ruin the book for somebody who didn't read it. But like Eve starts seeing Addie kind of, she thinks she's stalking them, and you don't know like if it's in her head or not. So I don't want to say too much, but I just want to say that I really loved it, and I want to read all of Freida McFadden's books now. And I've heard mixed reviews about it, but for me it worked. It was super easy to read, and I found it engaging from the very first page. So another book that I read the Beverly Cleary book, which is called The Girl from... Oh, I forgot it. Anyway, it's a Beverly Cleary autobiography, and it was really good. And I'm a huge Beverly Cleary fan, so I definitely wanted to read it. And I found it in a little free library and read it and gave it to my stepsister. But it is just a story of Beverly Cleary growing up. And I read the Ramona books repeatedly when I was a kid. I loved it. I read it to my kids. They loved it. And basically, Beverly Cleary was a little bit Ramona, and she grew up she was an only child, and her parents were kind of really strict, and she had a rough relationship with them. And I don't know, you just have to read it. It was really good. I thought it was really long at first. I didn't think I was going to finish it, but then once I got into it, I just really enjoyed it. I like memoirs, like I said, and I really wanted to read Beverly Cleary's because I've loved her books throughout the years. And then the other book that I read was Dearest by Jacquie Walters. And I actually gave that to the girl who sold me the books, the Freida McFadden books. And Dearest is about Flora, who is a new mother. Her husband is away on deployment, and she has this newborn daughter, Iris, and she has postpartum depression. And there's a lot of things that she's seeing and experiencing, misplaced items, and she had this imaginary friend. The imaginary friend comes back, and so you know that there's something going on, because like, why would your imaginary friend come back when you're a grown woman and a mother? She's like really tired all the time, and then her mom comes to help, and her mom and her have been estranged. And it was really good. Like, there are parts that I thought were like a little bit slow that I think that she could have like skipped a little bit of, but I thought it was really good. And it really, as a person who has had 3 children and a husband who had to work, that, especially with my first daughter, with Bella, like that isolation that you feel where people aren't really coming. Bella was born in winter. It was very cold. At that time, RSV was prevalent, and so we had to keep her home for a month, and you're just like terrified. You don't know you're terrified. Like, everything terrified me with her because she was so small and so defenseless, and you know, you don't, like, what if I drop her, or what if she gets sick, or, you know, what if I take her somewhere and then she gets like a cold and it turns into RSV, like all these horrible thoughts and that isolation. This book really captures that. And as somebody who, if you're a parent who has gone through it, you will understand it. So that was a super good book. Again, I don't want to say too much because it's the kind of book that has a lot of surprises in it. So, but that was Dearest by Jacquie Walters. I read my first Darcy Coates book, which is called House of Shadows, which was excellent. I went out and bought all of her books that I could that didn't cost over like $10 because I'm kind of cheap like that. And this book is about Sophie, and it's a little bit, it reminded me of Beauty and the Beast a little, where her father ends up going broke and she has to marry this rich man who takes her away to her estate. She's only just met the man, and his family is very strange, and they are just like hostile and
ow.
Okay, Sarah dropped a bowl on her toe. Anyway, they're very hostile, and then things start happening, like doors opening and voices, and it's just basically a nice gothic haunted house story. I know. Oh boy. Oh, so sorry. Excuse me. Anyway, it was really good. A really good gothic haunted house story. No. Then I read this book called The Game by Linsey Miller, and this is about a girl named Leah. And Leah is in high school. She's about to be a senior, and the seniors all play this game. It's called Assassin. And basically they all, anybody who signs up for it, there's this assassin like secret society type thing, and they'll email you and tell you who your assignment is, and you go around with a water gun and you try to shoot your assignment, and there's all these rules, and Leah has waited her whole life to play it. There's a lot about like sibling rivalry here, like where she has an older brother who's kind of like the parents' chosen golden child and can do no wrong, and now he's away at college, and she's kind of always felt like she was under him, so she really wants to beat this game because she thinks in her eyes that it's gonna like prove herself to her parents. And so she has basically stalked her classmates for years trying to gear up for this and get all of their like patterns and what they do, what they're interested in. And then when the game starts, kids start dying. And so it becomes like a murder thing. And it wasn't my favorite book, but it was super fun and super fast, and I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed reading it. I gave it maybe like 3 stars. I just finished this book. I told Sarah she had to pick a book for me, so she picked this book, Wait Till Hellen Comes, and it's by Downing Hahn. And I actually really liked this book. Yes, it's a child's book. In fact, I gave it to Sarah to read because Sarah does like spooky stuff. And in it you have a new family. It's told from the point of view of Molly. And Molly has a brother named Michael. Bella, please stop being a weirdo. And they lived with their mom, who married a man who had a daughter named Heather. And Heather's like 7 years old. And she's kind of a snot. Like, she's a very snotty, bratty girl. And Heather's mother died in a fire when Heather was 3. And Heather was in the fire with her. And she was rescued, but her mother ended up passing away. Now Bella's crawling around looking like she's from The Ring. What is going on in this house today? I don't know where these strange children come from. So anyway, they move to this church out in the middle of nowhere, and Heather decides that she's friends with this ghost named Hellen, and she doesn't like anything else, and her behavior gets more erratic and worse, and she's like, she will lie flat out to get her brother and sister in trouble. So Heather's talking to this ghost named Hellen, and Molly begins to realize like there's something really dangerous about it. So she has to find out what's going on and how to save this very hostile child who doesn't really like her new family at all and just wants her father to herself from this weird ghost. And it wasn't too creepy, but boy, the author gets atmosphere, because the atmosphere was excellent throughout the whole book. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun read. And then I read this series of books by John Zelenski, who is a friend of mine. The first one, well, actually the first one is The Journal of Ezekiel Walker, and then is Walker's Vale. But if you're going to read them, I actually suggest you read them opposite and read Walker's Vale first. So Walker's Vale is about James, who is married and has a special needs daughter, and they move to a new house and strange things start happening. And it's basically a haunted house story. And there's this creepy pastor dude who lives down the road named Ezekiel Walker, who is a relative of the guy from this book. And this is a Christian horror novel. It's super short. It only took me like a day to read. And this one too. So he moves to this new house and strange things start happening. And basically it's kind of like demonic. And I really liked this one. This one was really good. I enjoyed the family atmosphere. I enjoyed his relationship with his wife and the way they cared for their special needs daughter who's nonverbal. And she kind of can see things that they can't because she is special needs and she's young. And so anyway, this one is about the relatives of the weird pastor down the road. And in this one, he has just come home from, I believe, World War II. And he was working, there's a special word for it, Civilian Public Service Unit, which I did not know what it was. If I were the author, maybe I would have gone into a little bit of that, like what that was. But basically, if you didn't want to go to war, but you still wanted to do something for the war, you would go and do this. And there was like different things that they could do, like working in mental hospitals or working in like forestry. And so actually that was like an interesting Google trip because I had no clue that that even existed. So he comes home from this and then strange things start happening to him and he lives with his parents. And this one's, in my opinion, like more violent than the other one. And there was one scene in a car that was actually pretty eerie. And this is like the diary of the relative of the weird pastor. So these are by John Zelenski, and you could get them on Amazon. But like I said, if you're going to read them, he suggested I read this one first, but I would actually do it opposite. I would read the newer one first and then go back and read this one. But these were really good, and it's interesting. When I told my husband that they were Christian horror, he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Well, you know, Christians believe in demons, and you know, demons are horror." So I thought that was interesting, and I would suggest you get them both to read. And I think that that's all the books that I read, except for the book that I forgot that I read. And so, yeah, just please like and subscribe, even though this video is going to be absolutely chaotic and Bella's going to earn her $10 trying to edit this whopper. All right, see ya. Turn it off, Belle.